I don't believe in space travel. I don't believe in NASA. I don't believe in SpaceX. I don't believe in the Soyuz. I don't believe in satellites. I don't believe in the Mars rover. I don't believe in the Juno probe, the Cassini probe to Saturn. Um, and what I'm going to present is, I'm not saying this is a definitive 100% proof, but there are questions. There are serious unanswered questions regards the whole thing. And that's what I'm going to do. So, first off, the moon landings. Now, I'm not going to go deeply into the moon landings. There are countless pictures where there are crosshairs in the wrong place and reflections in the visors and the shadows going in the wrong direction and waving flags and all sorts of things. You know, that's been thoroughly debunked over the years. And the fact that 40 years later, NASA tell us they've lost the technology of how to get there. They don't have that technology anymore. Let's just play a quick clip of this astronaut.
Go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But
right, you know, so I'm not going to go into that, but let's just bit by bit. I don't know how long this will take. Maybe it'll be quite quick. The Mars rover. Now, we are told these are pictures of Mars, yet on Devon Island, up near Greenland, Canada, these images have also been discovered, which look incredibly similar to Mars, do they not? Satellites. Let's go into satellites. Now, first off, let me show you a few launches. Right, so we are told that there are satellites going around. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's not white dots up there, but we just don't know what they are. Here's a satellite launch from a Soyuz. This is probably one of the best rocket launches I've seen, you know, on the internet anywhere. The rocket goes off, it's epic, but just look at the bad CGI that happens at the end. The satellite is launched off the rocket. You know, everything's brilliant when you're looking backwards, and very, very real. But the moment you look forwards on the camera, this satellite, don't forget this rocket is travelling at whatever, 17,000 miles an hour. The rocket doesn't stop moving. The satellite just drops away back to Earth. But actually, you can see it's just bad CGI. Have you ever seen that much cloud? It's like half the Earth is covered in cloud, and then it just rolls off to the side. It's bizarre. You know, and SpaceX, they've also started, you know, putting out satellites. Now, there's, again, the rockets. I'm not getting away from the rockets. They have fireworks. They're great. They go off. But when it comes to launching 10 satellites, honestly, what we are shown, well, for a start off, the moment it cuts to CGI, you know, then everything, the Earth completely disappears out of view of any of the shots, and you just get a black background. And then when they launch the satellite, it literally just fades into black, gone. And then you've got another shot of 4 white dots. Oh, there you go, it's done. Honestly, if you were launching satellites and actually it was real, one, it wouldn't just fade into black. You would see it go, and two, right, you know, if you were, this is just me, you know what I think, but if you really had a rocket going round the Earth at 19,000 miles an hour, don't you think they'd put a blinking camera on the bottom? So actually, rather than us having to watch a bit of CGI, you can actually go, look, and here's it going over Africa. Here's it coming up the, you know, middle. It's just like, what? You know, it's almost like it's ridiculous. The International Space Station. You know, here's a lovely bit of CGI of it from 2013. Now, honestly, with the amount of rockets, Soyuz rockets that go up, I'll get back to the Soyuz later. The Soyuz rockets that go up, do you not think they'd put a camera on the front of the Soyuz so that you could actually see the space station in all its glory? Because, you know, it's just like, once the Soyuz gets there, it all cuts to a little bit of CGI. The Soyuz against a black background again, maybe imposed over a bit of Earth. It just does my head in. You know, the fact that it's been up there for 20 years and we have one, maybe two videos of it. Because it's just, you know, I find it disturbing that something that, you know, if we actually have done something that amazing, there'd be videos of it all over the place, not just a couple of, you know, the CGI is very good, I'm not getting away from that, but I suppose it's the amount of video. It's kind of, all of this is actually based on the lack of video, proper, you know, evidence for these things being there. It's all very sketchy, it's all very sketchy. Just back to the satellites for a moment. Why is it, if you Google images, satellite, all you get is CGI? There's no pictures of satellites actually in orbit. Right, so this is where I'm going to slightly detract for a moment. So, NASA's science. Now, I am not a science professor, don't get me wrong, but this area above the Earth, where the satellites and the ISS is supposed to be, is an area called the Thermosphere, where the temperature gets up to 2,000 degrees C. Hot, hot, hot. Now, NASA's science and Space Agency's science say, and you'll read this all over the net, that because there are very few particles up there, it would feel cold. So the metal doesn't heat up and they don't burn up. Now, I'm sorry, but here on Earth we have such things called vacuum furnaces. Now, which heat up metal in a vacuum. Now, it goes to show that the science that we are being told by NASA, that up there, you know, 300 miles up, science changes, physics changes, for some reason doesn't sit with me. Particularly the lack of photographic evidence that we have for these satellites. You know, that we are told that actually, you know, they're too small to film, they're too far away. Then we made cameras and put them on them to film the Earth. So we've got the technology to film that far. And those satellites can film cars on Earth. You know, they can get extreme close-ups. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense the more you sit and think about it. Then we're told that, oh, it's because light scatters all over the place. I'll picture that, you know. Then, okay, I understand that if you are looking directly at the sun, you know, if a satellite is between you and the sun, fair enough, because the light, you know, is scattered. But what about at the end of the day, when the sun is setting and you're here and the satellite is over there? Surely the light would reflect back, so you'd be able to see it. You know, you still need a blinking big telescope and all that sort of stuff, but we have those. You know, so you'd see specks of light up there. But no, there's nothing there. So, same again for the ISS. You know, if the ISS, you know, the sun's setting, Earth is here, you know, and ISS would be going down over there, you'd be able to get, oh, it doesn't matter. Now, recently, okay, moving on, the ISS, of course, which, you know, I believe is actually in a swimming pool somewhere, is doing an experiment, and has been for the last 3 years, called HDev, high definition cameras on the ISS. Now, they can only transmit one feed at a time, and they never ever transmit from the dark side of the Earth, you know, the night side of the Earth. Yet, supposedly we've had satellites transmitting HD TV up and down for the last decade. Why is it the ISS, the greatest bit of machinery mankind has achieved, cannot transmit 4 bits of HD data to Earth over 400 miles? It is mind-boggling. And you know, when they do transmit, and they do transmit just over the edge, it's like the Earth just goes dark. Whereas we also have images like this, which were taken. Well, the thing is, this isn't even film. This is a composite image of lots and lots of images or something. But really, we would have film, wouldn't we? There'd be proper film, you know, proper HD video coming out. This, you know, really an aside. This is moving on to back to satellites, geostationary satellites, 24,000 miles up. 24,000 miles up. Now, if something was 24,000 miles away from a 12,000 mile wide ball, so here's Earth, so 12,000 miles. So it's here. Look at that. You get a blinking wonderful shots of the Earth. 24/7. We have 24/7 live feed of Earth from geostationary satellites. But yet, what do we have? 6 or 7 pictures. You know, and actually, look, here's the pictures off NASA's website of Earth from space. It's laughable. Come on. We've got such technology. You're telling me they forgot to put an HD, you know, video camera on the bottom? You know, it defies logic that people believe this is true because they are told it's true. This is the biggest lie ever spun on mankind, to believe this stuff. You know, the Chinese space station, this is another one. You know, they launched the, whatever it's called, Tianyong-2 or something. And 4 days later, their first space station fell out of the heavens. Isn't that curious? That's just an aside, that one. That would just made me go, really? Okay. So, and of course, people are going to come on here and go, well, how does the internet, you know, surely, where does my satellite TV come from then? How does my satellite phone work? It's all fibre optics and digital TV. I was working in telecoms back in the 80s when they were starting to lay the fibre optic cables under the ocean. And the internet works on fibre optic cables. And if you go and have a look around your town, you will notice that all the aerials and the satellite dishes all point the same way. A satellite dish is just an aerial to pick up HD TV. That's all it is. The whole internet is Earth-based. There are no satellites. There is no International Space Station apart from in the bottomless swimming pool. No probe got to Mars, as in the Mars rover is on Devon Island. It's very close to home. The Juno probe, the Cassini probe, what do we get back from them? CGI. You know, it just blows my mind that if these things were real, then the evidence produced would be so different. But we are told what's happening and presented with CGI. You know, every blinking rocket launch that goes off, and I've watched loads of rocket launches. I've spent loads of time enjoying them, but every single one cuts to CGI at some point, and you got sort of, you know, I could actually go into. There's more stuff I've got written down here, but I think that'll do for now. And don't worry, just want to say right at the end of this, I am not a flatard. I'm not going to come on here and go, NASA debunked, therefore, you know, ridiculousness. But I do believe space travel and and I just want to say on the end, right? Man has never been able to get out of low Earth orbit, which is like 200 to 300 miles above the Earth. Now, what it does, it gives people the impression that man is out there, discovering, finding out about space. It's just lost all perspective. These things are 300 miles above the Earth, right? The closest star is 23,000 billion miles away. NASA is never going to get to the closest star, ever, ever, ever. Not the Juno project, Orion. Yeah, the Orion project. That NASA are hoping to take to Mars. Slight tangent again. If you go back to NASA and tell them why they haven't been to the moon, they say because people have lost interest in going to the moon. I'm sorry, 40 years later, I would love to see something go to the moon. Somebody, some people. And I suppose they can fake it again, though, can they? Not with the technology we have nowadays. But, yeah, the Orion, they can't work out how to get back through the thermosphere. And they need to solve it. Yeah, in the 70s, they did it with aluminium and tin foil. It's bizarre, and they've lost the technology and they don't know how they did it anymore. Yeah, okay. So I think the main point of this video is that actually, if you really start looking at the evidence that we are presented, it's full of holes and full of absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Anyway, that's my full debunk of space travel, NASA, SpaceX, the Soyuz, and the space station. It just doesn't add up. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers. Bye.